What does it mean to be a man? What does it really mean to be a man? I mean, y'all have seen my other videos probably. I think that you become a man when you're an adult male. That's a culturally defined thing, right? If you're an adult male in America, which is 18, you're a man. If you're in an African tribe that hunts and gathers for their food, you're going to be a man earlier than that because you're considered an adult, a fully functioning adult earlier in that society, right? It's a cultural thing. But the issue that we have in the first world is things are getting more expensive. Hormones are getting messed up. Society has us confused on what toxic masculinity is, what it means to be a good man, what men should and should not do, what gender roles should and should not be, or if we should even think about gender roles at all, right? So today's video is going to be very specifically about how to be masculine. What does it mean to be masculine, truly? And how do we get to the root of it? How do we understand how God designed us in such a way that we can be masculine in no matter what stage of life we're in? Because it's not just being a husband, it's not just being a father. Those things can be included in a man's life and often should, but it doesn't make you a man, and it doesn't make you masculine. So that's what we're talking about today. Now listen, at the end of this video, I'm going to present an offer to you, an offer for which you can pay some money if you want. If you don't want, that's okay. I just don't want you freaking out at the end of the video when I present an offer, okay? Heads up. Now, it is a time-sensitive offer, and it is an offer that I think once you'll see it, you're gonna be like, yo, this is actually really, 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 really good. So I don't feel bad about it at all. And the meat of this video is going to be worth your time anyways. Ever since I was about 15, 16, I've been asking the question, what does it mean to be a man? How do I know when I'm a man? And how do I be a good man? Right? And as I progressed, I started researching, I started learning and watching and observing. I'm a very nerdy, very intellectual guy. And so I love codifying and learning principles about things, right? I got married very young. For those of you who don't know, I was 22, she was 19. I was married for 6 years. And during that, there was an identity crisis. And during that identity crisis, after which the marriage ended, not a story I'm going to share here, but let's just say I didn't want it to end. Okay. During that identity crisis, I was desperate for help, for practical help, mind you, because I am the oldest son of a pastor's family, born and raised in the church, well learned in biblical ideas, principles. Okay. I'd read the marriage books before I even got married. I had the concepts and the ideas that were offered by the church already. And when push came to shove in my lowest points, those were not practical for me, or at least my understanding of them was not helpful. And so I began to look. That's when I discovered the red pill, right? The red pill, this side of the spectrum here, right? So these are modern masculine mentors. This side of the spectrum has tons of power and practical wisdom. And I'd always kind of looked at these guys and I was like, you know what? Maybe your pastor looks like this, maybe he doesn't. Maybe mine does, maybe he doesn't. But these are like the stereotypical pastor guys, right? And it's like, what they're saying is good, and I know it's biblically grounded, but it's not doing it for me. Like, there's something missing. It's not practical. I can't apply this like I want to. Like, love your wife as Christ loved the church, servant leadership. Like, I was doing that. But it wasn't working. It was causing me to suppress myself and become this sort of nice guy, and I didn't know how to step up and lead in a way that was still God honoring. And then over here, stuff these guys started saying started making a lot of sense, helping me tap into this kind of dog, this kind of beast within me that was always there, but I'd kind of suppressed it in my earlier years, trying to be a good boy, trying to be a good Christian. With the best of intentions, I had suppressed this masculine side of me. So over here, we've got power and practical wisdom. And of course, you all can probably guess who that the bald guy is there. And I have several people in mind that could fit any of these guys. These guys are not pinpointing any one person. Actually, multiple people can fit into these categories of each little cartoon icon we have here. So I started listening to this crowd, okay? And the scary thing is it started helping. It started working. I didn't abandon my faith or my Christianity, but I started pulling from some of these principles and realizing, hey, some of this is making way more sense. And not all of it is actually in conflict with the virtue and the biblical teachings with which I was raised. Some of it actually went together. But I couldn't really trust these guys either. Because you look at these guys, the red pills specifically, and you'll notice everything they say kind of has this undertone of anger and bitterness. I also noticed that no matter if I'm looking at, the Andrew Tate type, or I'm not going to name names with this guy, but, Rolo, there's different guys out there, right, that kind of look like him. They're all kind of got this angry and bitter undertone, never actually living in a marriage or a long-term relationship that anyone else would actually want. Like, I'm never looking at these guys and thinking, oh, yeah, this is how to have a good, healthy relationship with women. Ever. Never do I think that. Also, the practical wisdom they have is mixed with degeneracy. Another big red flag is they're always flexing worldly success metrics in your face. They're always shoving like the cars, the women, the body, the status, all that right at you. The other thing to note with these guys is like, if he's older, he's literally creating black pills and incels, just discouraging everyone, warning everybody about women. And then the younger version of him, the Andrew Tate, Myron Gaines, all those guys, they're just creating players. Right? They're giving out this crazy advice, just creating players and being a net negative to society. And then another kind of trend I noticed in this space is this ego-driven manhood. This is a guy who, like, he's taken concepts from Red Pill, he would never align with them, and he's taken concepts from the Bible too, but he's not really fully submitted biblically, right? He's kind of living his own version of Christianity and still majorly dysfunctional. And I'm not going to go through all these, but you guys can pause and read them if you want. I saw a lot of him. And then I see these guys over here. They're like not necessarily living a degenerate life. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. But they seem very fake, very cheesy, and still not theologically as grounded as I was wanting. Nor did they really strike me as these powerful, aggressive men that I wanted to be like. That's a big problem, is I've got these guys, it's like, yo, if I want to look like I kind of want to look like these guys, I clearly don't, right? I've got this baby face and I can hardly grow a beard when I'm trying my best. But I wanted to have their vibe, I wanted to have their power and their presence and their gravitas, their aggression. That felt more manly to me than as we kind of go down the scale this way. And then at the very, very end, we've got the people who normally run churches. It's like, and listen, I'm not dunking on pastors here, okay? But y'all know, if you look at this group and say, which ones do you think the pastors are? Y'all are all over here. Y'all all know that they're these guys, okay? It is what it is. And the modern Western church seems to uplift men who can preach the word, and maybe they're great pastors and shepherds of the flock, but they don't have this aggressive edge to them that I believe men should have, that God gave us. Part of that is because our culture is still kind of telling men to sit down and shut up. And so guys who are not too aggressive in their masculinity do a lot better leading a church which is full of primarily women at center stage, right? Women are not going to be as offended when these guys talk as they are when these guys talk, even though you and I, if we're being real, want to look more like these guys, right? So here I am just stuck. I've been the coaching mentor type for all my life. I've helped build multiple million-dollar businesses. I have some billionaire contacts in my cell phone. I've started businesses. I've scaled things. I've worked with tons of different types of people, learned lots of different types of things, seen a lot of male-female dynamics at play at the workplace with a lot of young, attractive people. And so I've been learning, grounded in my biblical knowledge, and was always the guy people would come to for advice and for questions about anything. I'm very good at learning something inside and out, codifying it, and then being able to teach on it. And so before I knew it, I had done that with this masculinity thing, almost without trying to, and started posting one day, and the rest is history. Anyways, the answer to all of this is not to say, oh, let's find the balance, right? Let's find the middle ground. I hate that word balance. It's so often just kind of a proxy for being weak or too moderate, right? Because I don't want to balance. I don't want to balance any of this. I want all of the good theology and virtue at 100% strength. And I want all the power and practical wisdom at 100% strength. I want all of it. I don't want balance. I want 100% of both. I guess that's still technically balanced, but not 50-50. Not like, where's the middle? Like a little over. No, I want all of it. And I'm guessing if you're watching this video, you do too. So I'm not going to dive in deep to all the issues with these guys or even these guys. I'm going to talk about the issue mainly with the modern church. And again, not that it's your pastor and I'm not calling anybody out specifically, right? Unless they're like super mainstream, I might call them out. But I don't know what your situation is or mine. I'm just saying the church as a whole is missing the mark. It feels like Christian manhood is either just like honor, strength, and virtue, and then like warfare analogies, lions and swords, iconography, which is like kind of cheesy and rah-rah. And then at these very well-meaning churches, they are accidentally making single people feel like underdeveloped or less than Christians. Because it's almost like you're not a real man, you're not even a real woman, you're not a real Christian, you're not as good of a Christian as you could be unless you are married with kids. That's kind of the vibe that we get from these churches. I know you guys know what I mean. It's like, especially the older you get as a single guy or a single woman, it's like, oh yeah, something's wrong with you. Like, and a lot of people are out of touch with how dating has changed even since COVID and how crazy things are and how hard it is to find somebody. And it's not that we don't want to get married, a lot of those people in those positions, but it's not as easy as it used to be. It's kind of like buying a house. It's a lot different back when this guy and a lot of guys that are trying to teach us bought a house, right? The other problem with these guys is you don't look at these guys and say, I want to be like you. There still feels like there's something missing, right? Still feels like there's something lacking. So I am going to do a little bit of a call out with some folks that you guys are probably at least a little bit familiar with. This is Lecrae talking to Matt Chandler. And I want you to listen to this dialogue so you can kind of see exactly what I mean. Lecrae has a really good question for Chandler, but if I was in Lecrae's shoes, I would feel empty and like the question wasn't really answered. So this video kind of displays what I mean by the modern church missing the mark.
How would you address kind of this like weird space where guys are trying to figure out what does it mean to be a man, where you get a guy like Andrew Tate who rises up because he's calling people to be something, and then you also have guys who are like, well, the women have been abused so much, let's just let them lead now. Like, what are you telling your guys in this season where everyone's trying to figure out what the heck does this look like?
All right, very good question. That's essentially the question I was asking in my early to mid 20s and really all my life. Like, help. Like, I see these tough guys rising up and being something that I resonate with, that I want to be like, but I know something's not quite right. And then I turn to the church and say, what is the right way? How do I help? And then this is what the church tells me.
I think there is a special position, a special authority given to the man. I just think it's really hard to argue that out of the scriptures. And so whether the man
Okay, so I've got special position, special authority. Doesn't really help so far, but sounds nice.
enjoys jiu-jitsu like I do, or the botanical gardens like I can occasionally enjoy. Neither behavior is what makes him masculine or non-masculine. To step into the confidence of the authority and calling of God on your life is the most masculine thing there is. And so
to step into the confidence of the calling that God has in your life is the most masculine thing there is. Okay, so what if women step into the confidence of the calling that God has in their, I don't know. It doesn't fire me up at all.
Lauren, I married a strong woman. I did not marry a, what are we doing? I mean, I did not marry, she's got thoughts, she's got opinions.
And now he's talking about
what
his wife.
She loves most about my leadership is that I'm leading out of conviction and in a direction. And she's coming with me.
Okay, out of a conviction and a direction. It's good leadership. Okay.
She's got a much more sharp discernment gift than I do.
Good for
And
her.
Lauren has at times gone, there's some danger there. And so I'm a fool, even though I'm the leader of our home, bring her gifts to bear on our home and on my life.
So is this a marriage deal? Like, you see how quickly it all circles back to like marriage and family when it comes to advice for men. I'm going to show you guys one more. This is a solid dude, by the way. I think he has a lot of good messages. So, and Matt Chandler can as well. So I'm not trying to like dunk on any of these guys. They're just representative of the church's answer.
Your body count or how many women you slept with doesn't make you a man.
Okay, so that's anti-Andrew Tate.
Going through puberty or hitting a certain biological age does not make you a man.
And I disagree with that. I think you're a man when you are old enough to be recognized as such by society, but beside the point.
How much money's in your bank account doesn't make you a man.
Anti-Andrew Tate again.
Manhood is not about taking from the world, but giving to the world.
I like that.
Manhood is attributes like courage, strength, integrity, love, mercy.
Courage, strength, integrity, love, mercy. No, like that's just being a good person. That's just being a good Christian human, okay? I'm not trying to dunk on this guy. The frustration you're seeing from me right now is about the state of affairs. When we're telling men that that's how you be a man, that's like woman, it's just like the same for women, like courage, strength, integrity, virtue, love, mercy. Like those are all things that we want women doing too. Like, yeah, maybe men need to be more courageous than women, but why? Why? Like we want women to be courageous too, right? Certainly integral, loving, merciful, all those things.
How you display and how you give to the world rather than taking from it. Can you be that man?
So that's the whole reel. And that's his list right there. Those are all things that women should be doing. Those are just good human characteristics. It's not helpful. And I know some of you guys are Orthodox, Catholic, high church. This guy's doing it too. He's dunking on Andrew Tate, as he probably should. And then, he's talking to a mother whose son likes Andrew Tate, which makes sense. It's understandable why. And then here's what he gives as a true Christian man should do this. Faithful, disciplined, healthy, grounded, principled, responsible, offers honor, earns respect. Like, how is that uniquely for men? How is that uniquely for men? It's not, maybe grounded is, emotionally grounded. Okay, I can actually side with that one. But the rest of it, we want women doing all those things too, if we're being real. So if you're listening to this and you're like, yes, I see the problem, what's the solution? Then you're probably the type of guy who wants to live in alignment with God's design. Right now, our culture is very confused on masculine and feminine dynamics, on what it means to be a man, what it means to be a woman. But God does have a design for you. And it's not just good Christian virtue. It's not just that. There's something uniquely masculine that He is calling you to, and He has designed you to fulfill in being a man. Also, if you're vibing with this, you probably want to know how to both spark and maintain the attraction of a godly, beautiful, feminine woman. And heads up, fam, the way you do that is by being masculine. And guys, being masculine is not a big truck. It's not muscles. It's not tattoos. It's not money. Those can be symbols of confidence and power and maybe some masculinity, but they're symbols. True masculinity transcends that and is under the surface of that. And masculine energy is what attracts feminine energy. So we're going to dive into that too. This is where I've developed the 10 commandments of masculinity. Now, almost all of these, all but one of them, and I won't say which, but all but one of them tie directly to a masculine trait. A masculine trait. All of these things are things that women can do, okay? By the way, guys, women can be masculine and men can be feminine. We see it all the time. You see it in same-sex couples. There's a more masculine one and a more feminine one. You see in heteronormative couples. There's a more masculine one and it's hopefully the man. And then there's a more feminine one, hopefully the woman. And the spark and the chemistry is only there when that's true. When a couple becomes roommates or just friends and the spark dies, I guarantee you there's been a depolarization. Within the context of that relationship, the man has felt emasculated and the woman has dysfunctionally stepped into masculine energy every single time. So these commandments are something that we're going to go in depth more on later, but this is just a really, really, really good start. I know it's simple. I know it's kind of boring looking, but if you live your life this way, you're going to become a more masculine man. And we're about to get into the offer that I promised was coming, and it's really, really special. Okay, it's really, really special. Each of these commandments ties to a trait that is uniquely masculine. And what that means is it's not feminine. right? So the problem with what we've heard on these other videos and examples is these guys, these Christian guys, are listing off traits that are not feminine. Because you can be virtuous and courageous and honorable and all these nice Christian things, and you should, but you can be those as a woman, and it doesn't detract from your femininity. The things that we're talking about in this list, if a woman does too much of them, she will become less feminine. And if a man pursues them, he will become more masculine. And if he does not pursue them, he will become effeminate and soft and undesirable by men as a brother and by women as a lover. So the course is diving into that. It's called Masculine Power. That is the course that I want to pitch to you all. I don't have a write-up on it here. I'm going to go over it with you verbally and explain how it's going to work. So I've already done a course on the feminine counterparts to these traits. It's called Feminine Essence. I got a lot of great reviews on it. I have something I need to get to right after this video, so I'm not going to go into depth on those reviews, but if you want to read them or hear about them yourself, go to my Instagram story highlights and click on the highlight that says ladies, and you can see the positive reviews I got from the Feminine Essence course. Mind you, that was with women, me working with women on the femininity. Guys, obviously I'm way more invested and way more nerded out on the masculine side, so it's going to be even better. This course is launching June 24th, okay? So not long, we got a couple weeks left. It'll be on that Tuesday evening. In the evening for the mainland USA time zones. It's going to be a 6 to 8 week course, guys. So in this course, we're going to be covering each individual trait pair. We're going to be talking about the principles that go behind these traits, how they support masculinity, how they support femininity. We're going to be going through detailed examples on how you can apply these principles to your life today, like ASAP, and grow in your masculinity, which is going to help you live in alignment with God's design. It's going to help you have strength without degeneracy, and it's going to help you attract a feminine woman. Then I'm going to give you guys application steps. As we go through the principles and examples, we're going to apply it. There's going to be ways you can put those things to work in your life. So let's talk about how this course is going to be ran. We're going to run this course through my exclusive platform for men called Gravitas, okay? And with this course, you're going to get access to the platform. This is what you're going to see when you join. You're going to have access to these different chats where we have different discussions and interact with each other. This is for my brotherhood, my inner circle, like my men's group of high-level Christian men trying to grow in all areas of life. You can join the brotherhood if you want, but that's a different thing. And these channels are currently locked. But that channel at the bottom, the Masculine Power and Polarity channel, is going to be where we discuss the coursework. In the training section here, there's some courses that you have access to for free. Some of them are not free, but the Masculine Power course will be housed here. This is where we're going to put the call recordings. But in the events tab, you'll be able to see when the courses are live. As you can see, those are my brotherhood calls. You can join those as well if you want, but the Masculine Power course will be done live. So this is a live course. We're going to do the live course so you can ask questions to me live, interact with me live on the course as we go through these principles together. And like I said, these will be on Tuesday nights starting June 24th. And then we'll post those call recordings in the training session. You also have DM capabilities where you can chat with me and other people. You have unlimited access to me via DM for the duration of the course to help you make sure you're understanding everything, ask any unique questions we can't get to on the live calls. And of course, the benefits of the other free courses that are in here and the channels where you can interact with my community, which is continuing to grow into a solid group of guys. So the offer I want to give you is actually really, really special, but it is time sensitive, okay? Now, as you saw when we scrolled through in the training, I've got some expensive courses. And a course like this, when it's live, there's Q&A and you have DM access to the course host, which is myself. That's about as premium as you can get without having like an in-person retreat, right? Which are like thousands of dollars, okay? So the price for this course, the final price, which I think is very, 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 very good, is not going to be anything like $999.99 or even $500. It's going to be $379. Okay, very, very accessible price point. I feel great about offering at that price point. However, this is key. On June 14th, which is this coming Saturday, only then it will be $97. Okay, $97. I'm going to change the description of this video to have the link where you can sign up. It'll be on my Instagram stories as well. You won't miss it if you're looking, okay? But for 24 hours only, it'll be $97. Then the next day, it's gonna go up to $197, and then after a couple days of that, it'll go up to the final price of $379. You can buy it at any of those points, but only on June 14th will it be $97, and that is an absolute steal for what you're getting. I want to offer to this price point so that you guys that maybe are not sure if you want to work with me, or maybe you don't have the money to work with me, have an in to get at one of the most powerful, most integral courses that I will probably ever offer. So there's nothing you can do today at the time of recording and publishing of this video, but you can set your calendar alerts. You can be ready on the 14th at midnight. So like late Friday night or early Saturday morning, however you want to think about it, but at 12 a.m. on the 14th, the go live will happen. You'll be able to access it. There will be limited spots. So if all of the $97 spots fill up, then we will move to the $197 before the day is out, but hopefully that won't happen. I just don't want this to explode into something that's too big so that I can't give people individual attention, right? That would kind of ruin the point. And then on top of all that, guys, there's one more thing I'm going to give you, completely bonus, completely free. I'm going to add in the goal setting mastery course. Now, this is typically only available for Brotherhood members, and you can join Brotherhood if you want. But if you buy this course, even at that $97 price point, you're going to get the goal setting mastery course for free, which includes everything that I use with my one-on-ones to help them overcome motivational blocks, set appropriate goals, and move towards the men that they know they want to be. This on its own, I think, is selling for $379 as well, which is the same final price of the Masculine Power course. So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this, learned something about kind of my origin, why I'm doing what I'm doing, and can relate to me about the state of modern masculinity and how we need help. We need to codify and relearn what it means to be a masculine man, not just a good Christian, not just a strong man, but a masculine man with biblically grounded principles. I want to stress again that that deal is not something that I'll ever offer again in that way. So June 14th, make sure to mark your calendars, and I truly look forward to seeing you guys in the course. I can't wait. It's going to be a blast. Thank you for watching.